How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Bead here, and welcome to another episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. And my guest today is the wonderful Twisty Shape. Here he is.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going well, dude. How are you doing? You doing good?
Yeah, very, very well. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for joining us, man. Tell us a bit about yourself, about like as a streamer. Then, what do people expect in your streams, really?
So I am an action adventure streamer first and foremost, but primarily I'm a massive nerd. When people come to my stream, they are expecting comic book facts thrown out, random nerdiness and pop culture references all over the place, and generally just a positive high energy atmosphere that sort of breeds coming together to enjoy video games. Definitely as an older, maturer audience. And just having a bit of a laugh and coming away with their day. If it was bad, better, and if it was good, greater.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. And you're predominantly on Twitch. Are you on other platforms as well?
Yeah, so on all major platforms, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, the lot. I try and make my footprint as big as possible. So literally, if you Google Twisty Shape, I'm on every single platform.
Fantastic, man. Okay, but that's the end. But we need to talk about the beginning. So tell us, what was your first memories of video games growing up?
Oh, mate. So I have played video games since I was in nappies, pretty much. I remember probably one of my earliest memories was my mom coming back home with a pair of rollerblades and a copy of a PS2 game, a PS1 game called Discworld 2, Missing Presumed. And it was, she was like, which one do you want to play with? And I straight away went for the game. And she got ever so pissed at me because I picked a video game over these rollerblades that she's obviously spent a fortune on to get me outside in the sunshine. And I was like, nah, give me the video game, hand over fist, no hesitation.
Wow.
So yeah, I started off with sort of point and click adventure games from like Discworld, Broken Sword, and that sort of thing. And then we had a Sega Mega Drive and a PlayStation 1. And I love my Sega Mega Drive because I was playing like Street Fighter, Streets of Rage, Alien Swarm, Sonic, and then Spot Goes to Hollywood was one that I vividly remember being one of my favorite games, which no one's ever heard of these days because you played a little red polka dot in Ray-Bans and Converse. And you went through all these different like movies, like you rode a tricycle away from a T-Rex, or you fought across pirate ships and stuff. It was the weirdest sort of acid-induced video game I've ever seen. And then I went on PlayStation 1 when I obviously got this Discworld game and started loving games from there. I remember I would rent a game every weekend because we lived in the sticks in the arse and the nowhere. So we'd rent a new game every week, and every week it was down the Blockbuster for the weekend, and then I'd rent a game and just keep playing more and more games.
Nice. Wow. So you went PlayStation then Mega Drive, so you went backwards from there. So
we always had the Mega Drive, but it was my mom's, as well as the first PC was my mom's as well. And much like with most things when you're younger, yeah, they're your parents, but you kind of slowly sort of sneak onto it, and then they realize you like it, so they let you play with it every now and again. And she thought that video games would be bad for me, but due to some issues with some health issues when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time indoors and such. So to keep me quiet, it was just easier to sit me down in front of the Sega, and then eventually they got my own PlayStation, which I then played a lot with. But yeah, so I started on the Sega, but the first time I actively remember having my own console was the PlayStation 1. Right,
okay, so yeah, nice. And that's nice to hear about you playing. Did you play games with your parents much?
Yeah, I used to, but when I was like knee high to a grasshopper and they had obviously the time and stuff like that, yeah, we used to play games all the time together. But then as we grow up and like games changed and everything like that, and I started to become a lot more adult, we stopped pretty much doing it. But now I play games obviously surrounded by friends, and my partner's a gamer as well, so she's always on them and I'm always on them now, just always. Not with my folks so much, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But with everybody else instead these days.
But yeah, it's an interesting concept. Because I never played personally with my parents, but it's quite interesting because there's not many. I don't actually, generally speaking, don't find many kids do back in the 90s anyway.
No, so, not really. I always think like games were kind of frowned upon a little bit, almost like it was a fad. It was never going to catch on. It was just a a waste of money and that sort of thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So lots of time on the Mega Drive, lots of time on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, if you had to choose one Mega Drive game, would it have been Spot or would it have been Streets of Rage?
One Mega Drive game. That is a tough question, man. I'd probably go for either Streets of Rage or Golden Axe. Like, you go with the classic games, because Golden Axe is fucking renowned by everybody. Everybody who was like a 90s kid generally knows what Golden Axe is.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, I adore Golden Axe.
Oh, so who's your go-to characters in Streets of Rage and Golden Axe then?
Streets of Rage, it was always Axel, and then on Golden Axe, it was the Barbarian.
Oh, nice. So
And his little blue tidy whities.
yeah, of course. So would you did you go Streets of Rage 1 or 2? Or 3?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I think it was the first one, because I remember seeing what it was the one that didn't have the guy on roller skates. Because I remember seeing that one and being like, "Oh, that looks really cool. Why don't we have that one?"
Yeah.
But we had like the other one where it was Sonya, Axel, and
It's the first
I
one.
can't remember Blaze. Blaze, I think, was the other guy.
I think if on the first one it's Adam.
Oh, Adam, that's the one. Yeah, because you had Adam, who was like the Ken doll with the blonde hair, white t-shirt, blue like denim jeans, like straight out of the 90s. You had Axel, who was the black guy in the bright yellow t-shirt, and Sonya, who was in the little amount of clothing they could legally put her in.
Yeah. Spot on. So so on to the PlayStation then. So what happened there? So in terms of you had Discworld, so what other games did you play?
So I was when I was younger, we obviously chipping consoles was quite a popular thing. So we chipped my PlayStation and got all like the imports for American stuff, and I played literally anything I get my hands on, because when I was younger, as I say, I had a lot of health issues, a lot of it spanning around my legs and stuff. So I spent a lot of time on sort of basically disabled for lack of a better term. So I spent a lot of time sort of at home on my own, and I literally just played anything I get my hands on. The only things that I didn't like were racing and sports games, really. So I remember like Dino Crisis, the original Resis, Legacy of Kain, obviously then the original like Soul Reaver and stuff like that. Blood Omen and Soul Reaver. What else did I play? Just Alundria was like a big JRPG that I loved. Got me into Breath of the Fire, and then Final Fantasy. So I literally, like, if there was a game that I liked the cover art of, I would play it. And then it got to a point where, did I like the name of the game, at which point I would play it. And I'm very much the same now, where it's just like, if a game comes into my, a game that is part of the genres that I like, comes into my view, I'll be like, yeah, I'll buy it, I'll try it, I'll see what it's like. At the end of the day, I might love it or I might hate it, but then my mates can ask me if it's any good.
Yeah, that's how it used to be back in the day as well. You know, it's so funny now how things have changed in that respect, like with reviews and stuff
hugely.
like that. I mean, my go-tos are two, if you mentioned that, Resident Evil and Final Fantasy. So you had to choose one of both of those two games. What would it be?
What, between Resi and Final Fantasy?
No, as in your favourite of each series.
Oh, my favourite out of Resi and my favourite out of Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Resi... Probably... I'm actually going to go for Resi 7. The one with the Baker family. I think that game is absolutely awesome. And then I'd probably go for Final Fantasy... do you know what? I'll probably go for the remake of Final Fantasy. I think the remake of Final Fantasy is fucking awesome.
Oh.
Such a good game.
That's a hot take with the ending.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm going to get so much shit for that. I genuinely don't like the original Final Fantasy VII, because I always thought Sephiroth was just a bit of a prick, and everyone was like, and I remember when I was younger and stuff, because I went through like a goth phase, and everyone was like, Sephiroth, I'd call him daddy, and it's like, but why? He's just a dickhead with mama issues, and that's all his story ever has been. And people were like proper get uppity at me for me like basically debasing their most favorite video game antagonist ever, because he's got a big fuck off sword clearly compensating for something, when everyone knows that like Nick, 13, and Barrett were the real MVPs, and Cloud was just a sour little bitch. Like Final Fantasy, was it Final Fantasy 8 with? I really like Final Fantasy 8 with Squall and Rinoa and everything like that. And then when I look back, I was like, I only really like that because I was going through an emo phase right then, and Squall was an emo bitch too. So like I as much as I loved Final Fantasy, I always thought I'm gonna get so much shit for this, but I genuinely think it's one of the weaker JRPGs from that time. Like when you had like Breath of Fire rocking around and Chrono Trigger and stuff like that, and everyone's like, nah, give me Squall with his giant sword, and it's like, all right then, fine, whatever.
Oh, Chrono Trigger was so good as well, though.
Chrono Trigger was great. I wish more people that I've met had played Breath of Fire, because there's a game called Breath of Fire 3. It's a fucking amazing game. One of your party members is I can't understate this. Is an onion. He's a giant sentient onion. And like it was the first game that I remember that if you make the wrong choices, that party member dies. And he just goes away, and you never get him. You can actively choose to not have that party member if you make the wrong choices. And I remember seeing that for the first time, being like, "Fuck, that's mind blowing! You can miss out an entire section of the game. What the fuck?" But yeah, I wish I'd met more people who play Breath of Fire and stuff, because it's if you like retro games, or if you want to go back and play retro games, highly recommend playing it. It's so good.
Yeah, man, I need to play him. I haven't played him. There's so many JRPGs back on the PlayStation 1 that were so good.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm slowly making my way through them now as an adult.
What are you playing right now? What's your go-to game right now?
Oh, funny enough, I'm playing the original Fantasy 7 right now. But yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Let's just slag it off in front of you.
No. I'm all for it. But and I love that you mentioned Resi 7. A lot of people, I've almost forgotten how good it was.
Resi 7's sick, dude.
No, I love that game.
So good.
So yeah, you mentioned so many games on the PlayStation. Then I'm trying to think, but I mean, yeah, where did it go from PlayStation 1? Did it go to PlayStation 2? Did it go sideways?
So yeah, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and then Xbox, PlayStation 3, GameCube. I you name it. After the PlayStation 1, I got it. The only consoles that I never really clicked with that much was the handheld ones. Of course, when I was younger, like I had my Game Boy, I played Pokemon, I had my Game Boy Advance, I played all the Advance games. I got the DS. But when it got to the DS was when I had started playing games on PC. At which point I realized that I actually didn't like handhelds, because all that ever happened was my thumbs would start to ache and I'd get real bad cramp in the back of my neck from looking down all the time. So I ended up sacking that off and just literally sticking to my consoles then, because I was like, man, if I want to play games, I won't be looking at a fucking tiny screen like that. I want to be looking at the shit going off on my TV and it popping off with like, I mean, I don't even know what resolution screens we were looking at back that day, like 800 by 600 rather than like 10 by 12.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and of course you got the whole handheld situation where you could even see the screen in the dark or whatever as well.
Oh, dude, yeah, you used to play it in the car, like in the back of the car, and you'd wait for the street light to go overhead to be able to make that quick move.
Yeah.
And you pause it again, you'd be like, right, when's the next one? And God forbid, you'd be like on your way home from your nan's or something, and you'd be like, shit, I hope my batteries last, because I haven't fucking saved.
Oh, man. No, yeah. And I always loved the to try and correct that, they used to bring the little light over it as well.
Yes! The giant fucking magnifying thing that looked like you were wearing jam jar spectacles. Yeah. Jesus, man.
Goes with the days.
It's a blast from the past. You end up getting like a Game Boy and it's got like all these bells and fucking whistles and compasses and all sorts of shit hanging off the side of it just so you can play it at night.
Don't forget the printer.
Oh, dude, yeah. The printer and the little camera that like clicked into the top. And it used to print out these dodgy ass, like, I think they were stickers, or at least they were pictures. And I remember them looking like the fucking receipt you get from it, from like a Macca's or something these days. Just like just lines of black shit. Yeah. Oh, Jesus, man.
Good times. So
yeah, that's retro at half there.
So you went PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games.
Yep.
Where do you play the PS2? Games?
PlayStation 2. None of them really popped into my head, to be honest with you. Generally, because like all of that was kind of a blur. But there's none that like, I'm trying to think any that particularly like got me on the PlayStation 2, but really, I didn't properly start. Like, I was always into games, but I didn't properly start giving a shit about them until probably the Xbox 360. Because, like, I would literally just get any game and play it. So I remember, like, playing GTA a shitload. I remember True Crime Streets of LA. I remember, obviously, Need for Speed, Underground, and stuff like that, just because of the soundtrack fucking clapped. But, like, yeah, I've got to admit, I remember like, a couple fuck up, like maybe the Final Fantasies, the one with Blitzball, I think was PS2.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But yeah, genuinely, when it comes to PS2, nothing really springs to mind out of any games that I was like, yeah, I loved this. Just a few little memories, but I remember my Xbox way more than I remember my PlayStation 2.
I mean, just because it's fresh now. I mean, this episode will be released in January, but fresh in November. We're talking about the GTA trilogy. So, what was your favourite of the trilogy?
Out of 3, San Andreas and Vice City. Probably Vice City. That's one I had the most hours in. I loved Vice City, and this is going to be like a really weird reason, but for some reason I found it really addicting that you could own your own businesses. I thought that was like a really cool like idea. Yeah. But then I also remember the RC plane missions that made me want to fucking hurt somebody.
Yeah.
But then they were in San Andreas as well, and they sucked in San Andreas.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have got rid of that by then, but nope.
You would have hoped so. San Andreas was really good, but I remember I finished San Andreas in one sitting. I got it, and I played it until I'd done it. Wow. And I think I regret doing that, and I kind of would like to go back and do them all again.
That's
but
crazy.
Obviously, the definitive edition, I'd rather not fucking touch that with shit on a stick, frankly.
Yeah, 100%. What I loved about San Andreas was the turf wars. I loved owning parts of the turfs. That was so good.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
Cool.
It was a lot long. If I'm not mistaken, it was a lot longer than GTA 3 and Vice City. So that's quite surprising you did that in one sitting. That's a long sitting.
I was like 14 at the time, I think. I have to check when San Andreas actually came out. And I bought it with a mate. We'd like pooled our like money together. It came out in 2004, so I would have been 14. And it was because it came out on 26th of October, so it would have been just after my birthday. And I pooled all my birthday money together, and I got some pocket money from like my mate, and we bought it. And I went around to his and my PlayStation, and we sat there and we played it from start to finish in one sitting.
My God.
And if I tell you what, though, the worst thing is, if you asked me what happened in that game, I couldn't fucking tell you.
Oh, man.
Not the Scoobies.
That's criminal.
It's all a blur. I know, mate. I know. I remember chasing the train and it being a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, the memes.
I remember the Las Vegas area. I remember a jetpack that was awesome, but also kind of shit. And I remember horrific draw distances. But that's all, off the top of my head, that's all I can tell you, because it's been a long time since I played that. I'm like 31 now. So yeah, it's been half my life ago since I played that game.
God, don't say that.
Jesus.
Don't say that.
I know, man.
Oh, man. But, I mean, I always remember San Andreas coming out. It was the first time I remember a video game coming out that really got everyone's attention. Like, mainstream attention. Because video games were always this underground thing back in the 90s and early noughties. It wasn't seen as what it is today. But everyone was talking about it in school. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember, because I got into PC gaming probably around that time again. It's sort of when we got our first PC. And I remember when sort of the PS2 came around, I remember like Manhunt being out.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember obviously GTA coming out, and there being the first time that politicians and stuff started taking like notice of video games. And I remember my mom, she'd never been like protective over what I played, because she knew that I had the mental wherewithal to be able to go, this is video game, this is real life, the two are separate. And she'd never been that fussed until Manhunt came out. And I remember she was like, under no circumstances will you ever have this game. And I to this day I've never played it. And genuinely I'm kind of glad because I feel like it would have been wasted time having seen it. But yeah, I remember we had to get one of our older mates or one of the adults that we knew to buy us our copy of San Andreas. And my mom went ballistic because it had been like obviously grouped in with Manhunt and everything. So yeah, she went fucking ballistic when she found out that she got it. And I was like, but it's only a video game. It's only a video game. And she was like, okay, fine, whatever. It's your money at the end of the day. And I played it. And yeah, I never really sort of shied away from like horrible or violent stuff. I'm quite into horror movies and horror games and stuff. I do draw a certain line. Like there are certain horror movies out there that I won't watch because they're shit and they're just violent and gory for violent and gore's sake. But video games I'll play generally like whatever's going, just because video games pretty good.
Wow. So you said you had PC around that time? That was when the PC came in?
Yeah. So I remember we had our first PC, which was one of them CRT rocking monitors, fucking matte grey, with everything being Packard Bell that doesn't even exist now, as far as I'm aware. And it was this behemoth of a PC, and I remember the first game I ever got on it was we went to a car boot, which for audiences that aren't like English, a car boot is basically a junk sale where you go to a giant field in the fucking arse end of the countryside in England, and everybody's got like painting and decorating tables set up behind their car, and they've just got shit just all over these tables, from tools to crockery to stuff they've had in the attic for fucking God knows how long, and they're selling it for like 50p. And you'd have boxes upon boxes upon boxes of pirated video games. Fucking none of them worked. They're all shit. You get them home and you'd be well excited, got a brand new video game. You bang it in your PC and it'd be like, nah, fucking nothing on the disc. It's an empty disc. Or you wouldn't know how to install the crack. And it's when I got first like really into PCs, because I was like, right, how do I get it from the disc to working? And I remember the first ever thing I bought, my granddad bought it me, because I was like, this looks cool, granddad, buy it me. And he was like, no. And I was like, buy it me. And he was like, okay, fine, shut up. And he bought me all of the Sims. The first ever Sims. And there was obviously like Date Night and fucking all that shit where you could, the expansion packs. And they all came in these little plastic wallets with these discs that somebody had printed off the disc cover from like their home printer because it looked like shit. And I remember installing that, and I remember breaking the home PC because I played the shit out of it, and I was like, okay, I'm bored now. What are mods? I've never heard of mods. Let's install some mods.
Okay.
And it bricked the PC because I basically was just downloading any old shit. So I didn't know any better then. So yeah, I ended up just installing just shit tons of mods and bricking the family PC, and I wasn't allowed anywhere near it again because it was always me who was blamed because my stupid games were making the PC slow and all this shit. And that's how I really got into PCs as a whole and building PCs and figuring out how to fix PCs when they went up shit creek.
Wow. That's a heck of a story. But just you mentioning The Sims now, it made me realise that's like probably the first proper like DLC games that really came out properly.
Well, so that's what I thought until my mom actually bought me the original Half-Life and its 3 expansion packs. I never realised Half-Life had expansion packs or 2 expansion packs, but it had Blue Shift and a green one that I can't remember what it was called, and it came in like those big fuck off boxes. You know, remember the ones that are like the size of when you buy a printer paper now and you get them and it's like the big thick wads of printer paper. Old PC boxes for PC games with the size of like just fucking huge cardboard boxes. And I remember her giving me all 3 of the Half-Life games for one of my birthdays. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize Half-Life had DLC, or not DLC, expansion packs. Yeah. Like, it blew my mind.
That's crazy. No, I didn't know about that either. Wow. So,
they're actually really good.
Okay. No, I didn't. Hear about it. Like even the Orange Box. I don't even think it's on the Orange Box, is it?
No, the DLCs I don't think are on the Xbox. No, but Blue Shift you played as like a security guard, and then I think the green one was like Omega Force or something like that, and you played as one of the soldiers that comes to Black Mesa after all the shit's kicked off.
God, I never knew about them. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had no idea.
So, okay, big question. What is your favorite video game of all time, and why? Is that something you can answer?
That is such a loaded question because there are so many.
One game.
So right now, right now, if I was to pick any game, it's going to be God of War 2018. I genuinely think that is one of the best executed games like ever. I've got like there's shitloads of games that I love, from games that are genuinely great to games that are dog shit, but I still love them anyway.
Yeah.
But if I was to nail down and be like, what is the one game that I would fucking play and play and play? It's God of War 2018. It is the only game I make sure that I set aside time every year to play through again. Although, funny enough, I haven't 100%ed it, unlike the Spiderman games.
Oh, right. And of course, I mean,
but I need to sit down and do that.
They're bringing a second one out, aren't they? And that's the end of that story, I believe. I've heard.
So there's the two games, and that's the end of the Norse story, but it's not the end of God of War. We don't know where it's going next. I've got a few speculations, but I have no idea. I have no idea.
Excellent. So what games are you playing right now?
Right now we're blitzing through Guardians of the Galaxy on stream, as well as Dark Souls 3. And then in my spare time, I'm a bit of a League of Legends fiend.
Yeah.
I do enjoy myself a little bit of League of Legends, although the community around it can fucking do one. That's the polite way of putting it as well. What else have we been dropping into? Playing a lot of Deep Rock Galactic right now, which is like a horde shooter, kind of like Left 4 Dead, but you're playing dwarves in like asteroids, mining and stuff. It's kind of really, actually quite a kick-ass concept, really. And then what else have I been getting my hands on? Obviously, been trying Halo. I've been jumping into the new League of Legends Ruined King game that came out. Jurassic World Evolution 2. What else was I playing? Kingdom 2 Crowns. Dude, I am always playing a different game every other minute. I'm playing a different game. I need to boot up Forza Horizon at some point, but I haven't got round to it yet.
So how much time do you think you spend offline compared to online with games?
I'm always online. I am always online, whether it be hooked into Discord or something like that. But I found my time has swung definitely more towards playing games by myself, a lot more in the past 2.5 years or so. And it's not through that I don't like playing games online. It's just I can't be fucked. I've become what with streaming and everything. When I get like some downtime between streaming, editing, working, being a boyfriend, and everything like that, I'm like, I want to fucking talk to nobody. I got like so much YouTube to catch on. I got films to catch up on. I'm gonna smash some like League of Legends on my main screen. I'm gonna watch a film on my second screen, or I'm gonna render and edit while playing like a round of Halo or something like that. And I can't like, I don't want to multitask and talk at the same time.
Yeah.
Every now and then, me and like the quote unquote lads sit down and play through like a multiplayer game. We did Eco recently, doing Valheim as well. But because within my group we have people who play games seriously, like I'm playing games because I want to be a professional person at playing games. And I can't be asked for the sweat sometimes. And we have some people who play games just for the memes. It's really hard to get a nice healthy balance set between the two little cliques. So I juggle bouncing between both of them, and then sometimes just like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna just play some games on my own instead. Yeah.
No, I think it's important. We'll obviously talk about streaming later on, but find that balance between your streaming life and your home life. Yeah, man, definitely.
100%.
So if you were stuck on a remote island, and on this island you can have as much Wi-Fi as you want, you only allowed to play 3 games on that island. What would they be and why?
3 games on desert island, unlimited Wi-Fi. So League of Legends is going to be one, because that game is infinitely replayable. I don't care what anybody says. Probably God of War, because it's my favorite game. So why would it not? Why would I not? And a third game has got to be something like. I'm probably gonna get into shit for this because I don't really like the franchise that. I was going to say Call of Duty because it gives me a shooter to play, and I like a good shooter now and again. But I'm actually going to go with something like Apex instead. I think, Apex.
You got to go 3 different styles of games in there, haven't you? So,
I think that'll keep me interested and fucking make me able to ignore starvation and dehydration for at least a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, the less important stuff, obviously.
Oh yeah. I got that food. I got League of Legends. Got to get that rank.
100%. So, do you have like a worst game that you've ever played? Is there anything that comes to mind?
A worst game that I've ever played, like as in.
Based on your approach to having got your games like through chip gaming or playing things that you've seen on the cover, there's got to be some titles in there.
Oh, there's quite a few, but I have done my best to wipe them from my memory.
Some people don't like it. They see it as a negative question, but yeah.
No, it's a good question because like you can say like, why didn't you like a certain game? In so many different ways. You could just not like a game because the game was bad or because it did certain things. I actually think like it says a lot about a person about why they didn't like certain things or why they didn't like a game. In terms of games a game that I absolutely hated or thought was trash. See, part of me wants to say Fortnite, but I genuinely think Fortnite is a great game. I just fucking hate it.
It's an easy to hate game, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm probably going to be no again because I don't like. There's lots of games that I don't like, but I don't necessarily think they're bad games. Probably. No, this one's tough, man. I need to think of one that is genuinely something that I think is actually a badly made game. I played so many early access games as well that have been fucking garbage.
You can't pick on those, I suppose. Or you can, if you want to.
I mean, I could, yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go with probably the most recent game that I genuinely thought was a bad game that I didn't enjoy. And it's called Biomutant.
Okay.
And I feel really bad for calling it out because they're one of the first ever games that gave me a copy in terms of sponsorship. But I would be doing a disservice to myself if I blew smoke up their ass for a game that I thought was genuinely one of the worst game experiences I'd ever had.
That's a shame. Oh, that's a shame. I bet you were excited.
I'm so excited for it. Yeah, well excited. I was watching Biomutant for time. Really excited for it. Got it. It looked bad. It played worse. The story was fucking incoherent. And yeah, it was just dog shit. Absolute dog shit.
Oh man, that's a shame. When I flipped the tables round a few episodes ago for myself, and I had to think of a bad game. I chose The Simpsons Wrestling as my worst game.
Simpsons, yeah, dude, that's a fair shout. I do not get the praise and shit people give like Simpsons Hit and Run and stuff.
That's a great game.
I assume people were like, oh, it's a great game because they were just being like memey and stuff. But nah, it's not. It's not a great game.
Well, Simpsons Hit and Run.
You remember it? Yeah, Simpsons Hit and Run. You remember it being good. But it was dog shit.
I played it on stream recently.
Dude, that game is fucking god awful.
It's hard. It's really hard. I never played it when it came out, and it was fucking rock solid. But yeah, it's not the best game.
Do you remember Simpsons skateboarding?
I remember it, but I never played it. Yeah,
yeah, dude, nah. It was definitely a game. and it was definitely, had the Simpsons in it, but in terms of everything else, kind of questionable.
So when you play games, do you play for like trophies, achievements, or is it?
Nah,
no.
I'm not much of a trophy whore. I like them and everything. They're cool, but I always get to a point of contention where it's like, but I can't do anything with them. People are like, yeah, but it's just a show off, and it's like, I don't want to fucking show off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll show off in a PvP game because then I'll just beat the shit out of somebody in the game. But why do I want to show off with single player games? Like,
Yeah, no, it's for everyone. So it's a fair shout. It's a question that I didn't used to mention on the stream podcast, but certainly has kind of evolved into it. So because people, again, it's a different perception for different people. It's really interesting.
100%.
So how long have you been streaming for? Actually,
it has been 4 years since September. So 4 years and 2 months, 3 months.
Nice. Oh, excellent. So what made you think about streaming?
I didn't, to tell you the truth. I had absolutely no intention of it whatsoever. I tried in vain to have some sort of shitty YouTube career when I was in university. Turns out I had neither the drive, the passion, or the wherewithal to actually give a shit about doing that. I released like 2 videos. They both sucked, so I fucked off to Australia instead. And I came back and then landed on my ass, did call center work, and met my current girlfriend, who literally, she did I was playing Dark Souls on my Discord and was doing commentary while I was playing it, or it was TeamSpeak at the time, or Vent or something, I can't recall. And people were absolutely fucking howling at some of the things that I was coming out with. And they were like, have you ever thought about streaming? And I was like, not really. It's never really been a thing for me. I don't think I'm charismatic enough, or I'm able to correctly commentate throughout games and shit. It would just be dull and disinterested, and fuck that. And they were like, no, you should try it. Just give it a go. It might be kind of fun. And at the same time, my missus had drawn herself a little caricature of her as Batgirl. And I laughed and was like, hey, you should do me as Robin. And she did. And I was like, it's very cute. It's very, very funny. And back then, we just kind of got Iron Man. No, not Iron Man. We were up to, I think the first Avengers film or something like that. And we were getting, a lot of the Marvel films. And the big buzz around Marvel films was really sort of getting palpable at that point. And I was like, man, I wonder if anybody does, a comic book stream. I wonder if everyone does a stream that's themed after comic books, what with comic books being so big right now. And I couldn't find one anywhere, and I was like, well, a few people have said that I should. I'm kind of curious. So I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'll give it a go, I guess. And I basically started watching YouTube videos and reading blogs and forums and tutorials and stuff, and just literally any little bit of streaming stuff, I'd grab that shit and I'd fucking absorb it and keep watching and keep reading. And then, I was just like, do you know what? Fuck it. I've got a webcam lying around. I've got a microphone on my headset. I've got decent internet now. I've got my own place. Fuck it. Let's give it a go and see how it goes. But when I started, I was playing, PUBG with the lads again. And it was shocking and it was awful and it looked like shit. But I enjoyed it, and it just kind of self-propelled itself from there, really.
Excellent. That was obviously one of my more questions is, do you remember your first stream? So,
Yeah, it was fucking shocking. It was god-awful. We were playing PUBG. There was no starting screen. We just jumped straight into it. I was playing shitty music. My audio was shit. My lighting was shit. My commentary was shit. It was not a good experience. Or at least it was a good experience for me. I was having a laugh. I was playing PUBG with mates, so I don't really give a shit. But people, legitimately, I had people in chat watching the stream, albeit it was within my social circle. But they were still coming by and watching the stream and stuff. So I was so thankful for that.
100%. No, that's great. No, it's so important, and you learn so much though from your first streams. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. My first year of streaming, my first 2 years of streaming, actually, I was a completely different person. Quite frankly, I was a massive bellend.
What?
And over those 2 years, I learned very quickly that it is unreal how much you are influenced by the people you surround yourselves with, and how much the idea of what you want to produce is not necessarily what you should produce in some respects. But yeah, I look back and think about the attitudes I had and the sort of person I was when I first started streaming. I'm just like, oh, you prick.
How did you come up with your username? Where did Twisty Shape come from?
I used to go by the name Helix, and I got banned from Ubisoft because Helix had the word hell in it. So I was like, fuck, I need a new name. And what is a helix? Well, it's a twisty shape.
Very simple.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I was like, fuck it, that'll do.
I was expecting this like 3-minute story then.
No, that was nice, short and simple. No story for that one, I'm afraid. I can make one up for you if you want.
No, that's fine. Oh, brilliant. What advice would you give to anyone that is thinking about streaming?
Oh, fucking hell, that's the number one bit of advice to narrow it down, just one bit of advice, is if you're thinking about streaming, make sure you're already within the sphere of streaming. If you are thinking about streaming, but you don't watch streamers, you don't follow streamers, you don't already immerse yourself within the sphere of streaming, then don't fucking bother until you have done that. The reason for this is because, yeah, the idea, sit on your ass playing video games and fucking chatting to some dickhead shouting abuse at you in the chat is one thing, but then doing it, realize you want to do it as a career, and then having to wear 20 different hats to basically get nowhere in 6 months is one of probably the biggest fucking kicks to the mental gonads that you could possibly have. And if you don't already immerse yourself in the environment as it stands, you're gonna be in for a fucking cold wake up when you realize that you're not as original as you think you are. You're not as unique as you think you are. You're somebody playing video games on the internet, and you have to work out how to be this original, unique personality. And that's if you don't let this mask of personality cover you when you start streaming, because it's really easy to slip into that. But if you immerse yourself in it, and you're already part of communities, and you're already part of people who do stream and successful streamers and stuff like that, you get a taste of what it takes to be a streamer, of how to get places, and how to build a community, and how to be part of a community and not just the figurehead of one. And I think that is far and beyond one of the biggest fucking pieces of advice that I could ever give anybody. Is make sure that you go to streaming first as an outsider before you come an insider, and that's it.
Yeah, man, that's brilliant advice. 100%. I really like that. It's crazy how many people think some of the analogies I've seen is you don't go I don't know, Kings of Leon headlining a venue. That doesn't happen straight away. You got to build the grinding.
Yeah, 100%.
Just put a wipe. Took that Kings of Leon, but I did. Yeah, but it's true. It's so true. Do you have any favourite stream memories? Any favourite streams or memories in general?
Quite a few, to be honest with you. Throughout 4 years, a number of events have happened that have been absolutely phenomenal. One of my ones that I return to quite regularly is on my 30th birthday. I got a video sent to me that was 20 or so people from my community just saying, thanks for the streams, thanks for the content, thanks for being you, and thanks for being awesome. And I was surrounded by more birthday presents than I had ever had in my 31 years of being on this earth. I had more birthday presents than I had ever had from, effectively, strangers on the internet.
Wow.
But strangers on the internet that had come to my stream on their best days and on their worst days, and had somewhere to share their great victories with people, or unload their shittiest fucking hours amongst friends. And I realized that as perhaps as self-deprecating as this might sound, I realized that I'm not just some dickhead on the internet playing video games and expecting people to pay him for it. I'm working to build a sanctuary for people who are like me, who were lonely dudes and dudettes and otherwise, who love video games and being nerdy and passionate about pop culture stuff, and wanted to be nerdy and pop culture-y and stuff, but not alone. So they came and watched streams, and they came and joined in with people, and they came and, you know, built relationships with other, you know, strangers on the internet who just wanted to be a bit nerdy with each other. And that's fucking awesome. And since then, I have never had as much drive to do what I do now as I did then. Like, I'd never been so fucking passionate and so fucking driven to keep doing what I'm doing until then, when I realized that actually some people not necessarily depend on my streams, but it is the highlight of their days, some days, that they can come and hang out with all their friends and chat shit and insult me and have this joint goal of making me cry on stream, be it via verbal abuse or otherwise. And that's always given me like a huge sense of purpose, which is more than I felt in a lot of jobs and careers that I've attempted to have throughout my 31 years. And then, like, when we played through The Last of Us 2, yeah, people had spoiled it because people are dicks, but it wasn't about what happened. It was about the journey, and it wasn't about the destination. It was about the journey to the destination. And throughout this, I had the biggest audience I'd ever had off my own work. We were hitting 70 to 100 viewers. And the discussion, we'd had so many people coming in being like, this game is bad. You know, certain people are trash characters. And instead of being like, nah, fuck off if you think that, get out my stream, we were like, well, why do you think that? You know, what's your opinion on this character? And then I was doing my best to, in my opinion, correct them and explain that, yeah, you might not like the other character the game forces you to play as due to actions that that person had undertaken throughout the game thus far, but you have to realize what this game is trying to tell you is that good and evil don't exist, and it's entirely a matter of perspective. And this is basically, the entire game is a eulogy for you know, don't have an opinion on a man until you've walked 100 miles in his shoes, or whatever that saying is, and how revenge is just this constant cycle. And like, a lot of people come in and be like, holy shit, I get it now. I understand why people like this game. I get this. And it was great to see people come in, join the discussion, and go from hating this game to the point where they'd be sending like abuse to some of the devs and stuff, and instead be leaving being like, shit, I never quite clicked that. I was so angry that it wasn't the game that I wanted. I completely overlooked the game that I got. And that made me feel fucking awesome, that I was able to have this discussion with people, and they got it, and it was fun. And those are probably my two biggest memories when it comes to streaming.
No, man. So obviously very wholesome. That's a brilliant set of stories, to be fair, man. I really enjoyed those. What I was going to ask about was it's not just about games, is it? Obviously, you talk about trailers, you talk about movies and comics.
Yeah, we do everything, man.
Yes, tell us a bit about the other stuff. It's obviously, this is predominantly gaming, but your streams are not. Your streams are So tell us a bit more about those.
So, I mean, like, every Monday we watch the latest trailers from the week before. The only thing is, nowadays we've actually trimmed out a lot of the JRPG trailers because they're all the fucking same. But we do generally tend to check out as many trailers as we can, and I let chat come and drop trailers on me that are like, they've got to be at least a week old, and we'll watch them. I think the only trailer that I said that I wouldn't watch was the latest Spiderman No Way Home one, because I was like, nah, there's going to be spoilers, we're not watching it, because I don't want spoilers for that shit. But yeah, if we've got enough topics on a Monday, be it like drama stuff or things going on in the world, I like to discuss that, because I think discussion is so important for us as a generation, for the generation that's coming after us, and the generation that was before us. And I don't think people do it enough. We're too busy pretending to have a discussion on these things than we are actually having a discussion. So if stuff's been going on in the world, like throughout gay pride, I put up obviously my pride flag in the background, and we would discuss topics to do with like the LBGT AIQ plus movements. I don't know if I might butcher that, but I tried. And we'll discuss like people like that. We had a person who came into the stream who was trans, and we were having like a chat with them, and just sort of trying to educate people that look, just because, you know, biologically and mentally and everything we might be different, we're not actually that far removed from each other. I mean, I'm a very open person, and I'll be honest with you, I don't give a shit what color you are, who you sleep with, what big guy in the sky you believe in. As long as you want a complete dickhead, I don't give a shit. Even if you're a slight dickhead, most of the time it's just because you're funny. Like, I don't really give a shit, and I'd rather, and I think that's the message that I'm trying to spread is why have you got a problem with somebody when they haven't done anything wrong?
Yeah.
And throughout like Monday's streams, and to be honest, with all the streams, we always start a stream off with a bit of chatting, a bit of having a laugh and a giggle, and a bit of a conversation beforehand. And I like to approach like the dramas that are going on, and I like to approach like the big issues that are coming on, and some nerdy, awesome stuff that happens as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not all heavy topics all the time. Sometimes it's just awesome to get pumped for like new games coming out, rumors that are coming out, new shit that I got that's nerdy, like I was showing off my Leviathan X when I got it, and just having a bit of fun and laughter. But sometimes it's nice to create this open space of discussion about topics that even I might not understand. So it gives me chance to play devil's advocate and have my opinion changed based on the opinions of the audience, or the education the audience has on certain topics. And it actually does me a favour, because then I'm more aware of topics going on in the world, like certain vocabulary changing, which I will sometimes argue against, and, you know, back and forth. And it's generally enlightened a lot of people, and generally like help wisen up a lot of people, while giving, although I hate to use the term due to people giving it sort of negative connotations, it's generally given like a safe space for people to come along and have that discussion, and not have an argument, or just be told that they're a certain F word and to piss off. And I like that. I like making that space for people. Yeah,
man. No, that's spot on. That there's not enough people that do that. Like you said, it's so important to have just engagement and discussion. And it's something that I, as someone that's been following you on Twitter for a long time, you know, you do it on there as well. You do, you know, a great job of that. You know, so yeah, no, credit where it's due.
Thank you, dude. No. I mean, you humble me that, like, but thank you. It does mean a lot. Like I battle with like the obvious thing that it's like, I'm not an original dude, I'm not doing anything new, I'm not doing anything special, but I'm doing it my way, and I'm quite happy with that. And it seems that people enjoy it doing it my way, which is good.
Definitely, man, definitely. Okay, it's a very odd question to end it on, but I just got one final question for you, which is actually, believe it or not, how is Guardians of the Galaxy going? Because
good, man. It's real good.
It's that shit caused a lot of friction, I think, within Square Enix when it came out. And again, I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on it. And
yeah, dude, they so Square Enix threw Crystal Dynamics under the fucking bus when Guardians came out, because Guardians come out and obviously lots of song and dance and praise. It's fucking awesome because it is. And then everyone's given like the side eye to Avengers, being like, why couldn't have you been like that? And Square Enix was just like, yeah, I think we picked the wrong company to make the Avengers game. And it's like, oh, you cheeky fuckers. But yeah, Guardians is great. It's got a great cast of characters. The voice acting's impeccable. The animations are crisp. Like, combat feels really nice and fluid. There are some weird bits. Certain animations won't impact quite right. It will bug out and glitch. I've had Drax and Gamora every now and then fuse into one entity, which is made for some horrifying images. I'm playing on streamer mode, so it means I can't use licensed tracks, so the soundtrack doesn't quite hit the same, which I'm kind of a bit disappointed in, because they have their own non-licensed music, but they haven't made it so it will just pick those non-licensed tracks to play in the game. So you'll get like this big thing where you'll huddle up your group and you'll inspire them, and you'll be like, yeah, rock on. He'll click play on his tape deck, and then fucking nothing, just silence. And it's like, well, this is kind of awkward. It's like fucking farting at a party when all the music goes quiet.
Oh man, I mean,
it's really weird.
If you don't mind, I might ask you another question just on that then.
Yeah,
that's a good segue, really, because what do you think of the whole Twitch thing when it comes to licensed music and?
Nothing to do with Twitch. It's the music industry.
Yes, of course.
It is the music industry being shitty with licenses and wanting money, and I understand that because this day and age, everyone wants money. I think Twitch are working on it. I think Twitch are working on a lot of things. I don't think people give Twitch enough credit for the stuff they do and just keep demanding the things that they want done. And the world doesn't work like that, and the sooner people fucking wisen up that you can't just demand something and it be there, especially with like big companies like Twitch and stuff. But like in terms of just to narrow it down just to the music thing, YouTube has had to deal with it since YouTube existed. The fact that people are surprised Twitch has to deal with that just shows the naivety of a lot of users of Twitch. I think that's probably all I got really to say on that without getting fucking ranty and bollocks.
No. I think what it is, I suppose, is like if you've got like, I don't know, like a FIFA game or something like that, obviously it's got lots of licensed music in it, but like I think it's when it's like if it's a video game being composed with music in it, that's when it gets a bit finicky.
So I play every soundtrack that I have on a game, I play, and nobody has ever said anything.
Yeah.
But I used to have song requests on where when we were doing Just Chatting, you could request whatever song you wanted. And that's when we started to run into issues. Now, the only time otherwise that I've had issues is when it is something like FIFA and the tracks are tracks from like BBC Radio 1. And to be honest, my only response to that is stop playing FIFA anyway because the game's shit.
Touche. Oh man, Twisty, I had a brilliant chat, man. Thank you so much for doing that.
No, thank you so much for inviting me on. I feel like I have probably this may have been a little bit one-sided, and I do apologize. I love talking.
no, dude, I have it that way. I do little talking. I listen.
Cool.
Do you want to give one final plug to your socials and?
Yeah, if you want to come and hang out with me and caress my beard over the internet, you can do. I'm at twitch.tv/Twisty Shape. Yes, caress it. I'm at twitch.tv/Twisty Shape. Twitter @Twisty Shape. Instagram @Twisty Shape, etc., etc. Just Google it. You can find me.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Twisty Shape, everyone. Thank you so much. And
thank you so much.
No, anytime, man. Thank you. So that's it. All the best, guys. Catch you for the next one. Bye-bye.